Hello, and welcome to the Create a Life You Love podcast. I'm your host, Chantel Cox. My purpose is to empower and lift up others who know in their heart they're meant for more. More joy, more impact, and more passion. If you're ready to make a radical transformation and create a life that you love, then you have come to the right place. Let's do this. Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's episode of the Create a Life You Love video podcast, where we connect with people from all over the world to share tips and strategies to help you on your journey. So I'm your host, Chantel Cox. I'm an author, speaker, and transformation neurocoach who helps women experiencing life transitions create a new vision for themselves, reconnect with their passion and purpose, and turn their transition into their triumphant transformation. Just a reminder, this is being streamed live, so those of you with us, feel free to please put any comments and questions in the chat, and then we will get to them as they make sense in the flow of our conversation. And if you are catching the replay, you can use hashtag replay, and we will be sure to respond later. And if you are listening or watching on a podcasting platform, feel free to email or message either of us, and we will be happy to connect with you. All right, I am so excited to be here today, reconnecting with Guinevere White. Guinevere shows people who want more money and more meaning with more ease how to discover their luck centers, tune into their genius, and activate their superpowers by tapping into their unique human design so they can supercharge their income and enjoy the life of their dreams. Well, hello, Miss Guinevere. How are you today?
I am excellent, Chantal. I am equally excited to reconnect with you and whoever might be listening, joining, watching us today. This is so much fun.
Yes, I love it. So share with us where you're joining from.
Absolutely. So I am based in beautiful Santa Fe, New Mexico. I absolutely love it here. Up in the mountains, we're the highest capital city in the United States. And also, I think arguably the oldest. I think there's one other capital out east that vies for oldest, but yeah.
But you're not convinced, huh?
Exactly. We go back and forth, believe me. Santa Fe always wants to be oldest. But yeah, again, it's debatable.
That's awesome. Well, good. So everyone listening, I had the opportunity to meet Gwen at a challenge we were doing. I think, was that with Carrie Ledoux?
It was indeed.
Yes. I had to think about that for a minute because I do a lot of these challenges.
Likewise.
Yes. But so we got to connect and I just became fascinated with what Gwen does and just had to have her on. So I hope you guys are just ready because you are definitely in for a treat. And so Gwen, share with us a little bit about how you have created a life that you love.
Absolutely. So first, just a little bit about me. I turned 51 this year. So I am literally in the midst of Chiron return. Anyone who's familiar with astrology knows the wounded healer. So it's really interesting, the timing of my path to creating a life I love. I'm also incredibly fortunate to be married to the most amazing, talented, brilliant man, the love of my life. I'm enrolled Cherokee and believe in diversity and equity and inclusion, belonging. Those initiatives are near and dear to my heart. And I also believe, and this is a personal belief of mine, believe in creating a small footprint. I'm a big fan of the Tao of Piglet. It took me a long time, clearly, to get here. But I essentially, through my journey, discovered my authentic code and my alignment themes. And I can share those with you all. But again, they are personal to me and they may not necessarily resonate with everyone. But my authentic code is prosperity, ease, home, and health. And my alignment themes are sustainability, play, commitment, passion, and engagement. And again, the journey to this was long and full of lots of challenge. I feel like I was put here to work. And interestingly, my human design type as a generator really jibes with that. But when I when I worked, I really worked, and I worked practically my entire life. I started working like officially at 15, but I had babysitting jobs and worked around the home. I'm a child of a single mother who believed in hard work and had a really hard work ethic herself. And so laziness was definitely, um, not a value that we embraced. And while I've been really good at working and I have been incredibly highly productive, in fact, I was referred to as the machine by some of my work colleagues in my past life, hugely successful. Um, it was not an aligned path for me. Um, my husband and I have owned and operated a handful of very successful businesses, and I've won lots of statewide national sales awards, was named manager of the year at one of the companies that I worked for. It was, again, very rewarding. And I made really good money, both for myself and for the companies that I worked for. So, um, by all practical purposes, I was living what most would think was a truly amazing life with a very creative man in a world-class city. And for many years, everything appeared to be going really well from the outside. The career was gangbusters. My employers loved my work, but deep down, there was always this unsettled feeling inside me. And I can remember it literally back to as far back as I can remember. And I have memories of, being a toddler. A few years back, I made a career change. And it was frankly, it was a decision to jump out of a toxic work environment. So it was not necessarily a decision made from a place of alignment. And that's like, full disclosure. But what I jumped into wasn't at all what I thought it was going to be. And it seemed like for months, I totally floundered. I came out of that and I pulled it back together, resuming that successful career trajectory. But frankly, I was very likely in the midst of what, again, astrologists refer to as Saturn return. And I really started that energy really started crashing in on me. Something never felt quite right. I always felt like I was chasing after something, that some feeling, something was always lacking. And I felt that chasm growing. Mind you, I was still having massive successes, but I really was beginning to feel more and more out of control. And to the point that I was feeling anger and at times rage, and always anxious, like anxiety was ever present. I got to the point that I wasn't sleeping well. My health and certainly my relationship with my husband were suffering. I spent days, nights, weekends doing work that I thought I enjoyed. But yes, I was literally working nonstop, and always feeling like something was never right. That success that I was having was, it was supposed to be it. It was supposed to be it, but it wasn't, and it didn't feel like it was supposed to. And if anything, it made me feel trapped. So weeks turned into months and months into years, and things just progressively kept getting worse. And I went through a series of stints at jobs that I grew to despise more and more. And finally, I literally, like, I remember probably 3 months into my last official job, job job, I was having a conversation with my director, and I literally remember telling him, I can't sell this because I don't believe in it. And he was like, whoa. Like, I'd never been, frankly, so frank with a director. But at that point, I feel like I was like in utter burnout. I know that in hindsight, but at the time, I could not imagine what was wrong with me. Um, but I did literally walk away at that point. Um, and of course, at first it felt liberating, but only briefly. Mostly I was like just terrified, wondering what I was going to do, what was next. Thankfully, my husband was completely supportive, and bless his heart. Yeah, he, had to deal with the mess that I was. And I fell off a cliff at that point. That anxiety that had always been there really did shift into depression. I think the burnout really sent me over that edge. And on a deeper level, I didn't even really have the awareness to know that my life was just utterly out of alignment, that my heart was just so closed off at that point. It was, yeah, it was just like a foreign concept to me. And so I spent months trying to fix myself. And I use the word trying because it was all effort. And it was all like a lot of self hate, frankly. And clearly, that fixing process didn't really land much success. And I have to say, one good thing that did come out of it was that I was finally able to admit to myself that that success that I had really hadn't resulted from following any sort of path or intuition. I literally just stumbled or yet again efforted myself into opportunities and just took them without really knowing if they were even something I wanted to be doing, much less following any sort of soul's calling. And that aha moment was tough. It really, it meant that I had to make big changes, and changes that were scary. And, there were days that I didn't want to get out of bed. Um, and of course, the changes that I was thinking that I would have to make, I didn't even know if anything would work, because here I'd, been at it almost a year, and it was just like I felt like I had backpedaled, if anything. Yeah. And worst of all, there was a big part of me that I felt like I just couldn't even trust myself. If I had gone down this totally misaligned path for so long, how could I know if I was making a right decision? And so, I think I had finally reached that rock bottom, and enough was enough. And just like a little over a year ago, I was going through some posts in one of the self-healing groups I joined. And I I noticed everyone kept referring to themselves by these strange numbers and words, words that were English words, but I was like, what? Like things like, I'm a 3-5 manifester, or I'm a 4-6 pure generator, or I'm a 5-1 splenic projector. And I thought to myself, what in the heck are they talking about? Yeah, it turns out, little did I know, I'd actually stumbled upon the very thing that catapulted me into my purpose and catalyzed me into alignment. And so I had found human design. And that system is what opened the door to healing for me and led me into alignment. And I have to say, a really like a very short period of time. Due to that lifetime of conditioning, I really believed that outer success was proof of my inner truth. And A lot has happened between that time that I chose to walk away and where I am today. And, that's a longer story for another time, perhaps. But I fast forward to now, and my life looks so different. I make less money, but I feel and I believe I am more successful than I ever thought possible. And this time around, that success is, it's the actual result of me being myself instead of some notion of what I thought was superwoman. Yeah, my success now comes from being aligned with my own superpowers. And those are, unique and authentic to me. And each and every one of us has them. And so now I spend my days doing work that really changes people's lives. And it feels incredible. And that fulfillment is reflected throughout my entire life. My husband and I are so much more, we're closer than ever. We spend more time together, and the time we do spend is so much more because we're present to each other and supporting each other. And it's really invaluable. And I look back now on the before years, and it seems like so long ago, but it really wasn't. But I can really clearly see all of the signs telling me that my success was out of alignment with who I am. Yeah. So,
Yeah. So now, like, as you're telling that story and looking back, that theme of alignment is so present and so strong. I'm curious though, like, in the moment, did you have any sense, like, were those the words you were using then? Like, what might people be, because maybe they're not familiar with what living in alignment means or looks like, and that's just not a normal word in their vocabulary currently.
right. Yeah. So, yes, for a lot of people, it's more feelings. I think, there are several signs of misalignment that probably people can relate to. If your gut is screaming at you, if you are breathing shallow all the time, those are things that, I was definitely walking around with persistent clenched gut, jaw, neck, back, shallow breathing. It was like a breathless existence, pretending everything's great, you know, knowing full stop that it's not. A friend asks you how you're doing and you fake happy, hey, things are great. Like, yeah. And even if they are great on the outside, the business is really taking off, et cetera. Yeah, you're gulping down anxiety and, your stomach or your jaw or your neck clenches yet again. And you're in a state of terror or anxiety just all the time. Sleep is a big one. That's a big telltale sign. If you're having trouble sleeping, something's out of alignment. It could be something as simple as a physical change, but generally, there are layers to good sleep, and the energetic alignment is a big piece of it. So, yeah, health, thyroid, blood pressure, those are things that I personally have been through. The worse my health got, the longer I was ignoring that alignment piece, the more I was misaligned, the worse my health suffered. I was gaining weight, and I was hemorrhaging energy. And that's another big part of it, plopping down when you get home and just, vegging out, maybe a sign that you're lacking some joy and alignment in your life. And of course, this one is a huge one for me. Dreading Monday morning. Like, I mean, every Sunday would be ruined just because I was so dreading work. Again, I was supposed to be loving what I did. Like, really? Do you? Um, my life felt wildly imbalanced, frankly. So, yeah, even if you're taking good care of yourself, or, there's even one aspect of your life that, could be improved. Yeah, it's an alignment issue. Um, and then another symptom are the people that you surround yourself with. I think a lot of times and I know this is true for me, I fall into the trap of comparison, or fitting in. Um, so if you're surrounded by people whose values don't align with really truly who you are, you're going to inevitably have to do whatever you think you have to fit in. And that means wearing masks, not like ignoring your intuition, ignoring your own set of values. Some people, aren't even aware of their values, but frankly, your gut will tell you. When you feel off doing something you're not supposed to be doing or you shouldn't be doing. But yeah, oftentimes we just adapt, change our behavior, change our appearance, hide who we really are, because we don't feel like we'll be accepted or loved or worthy, if we're our true selves. And that's going to only multiply our misalignment and dissatisfaction in life. So, yeah, those are certain things that can be true. But yes, when your relationships are out of whack, when you experience more general anxiety or unhappiness, yeah, if you're feeling dread, yeah, all signs of misalignment. And of course, alignment can mean the opposite of those things: wellness and happiness and joy, just a sense of ease. And it doesn't mean you're not challenged. Clearly, a happy life brings challenges, but we all should be doing things that light us up and bring us joy. And that means so many different things, to everyone. So again, the alignment process, the beginning of that journey, at least for me and in my book, does start with understanding your design and, getting that first human design chart and looking at it. A lot of times is the one thing that there's something that resonates deep within you when you see that body graph for the first time.
Yeah. So yeah, let's pivot and definitely dive into that. So I had never heard of human design before I was interacting with you. And so we jumped on the Zoom and we're doing whatever activity or challenge told us to do.
Right.
We just started chatting and I'm like, tell me more about this. And so you offered to do a reading and to meet on Zoom. And I was like, I have no idea what this chick is about, but I'm in. Let's find out. Like, I want to be open and learn new things. And if it, doesn't align with me, then I'll just be like, oh, okay. I was exposed to something new. And yeah, when you shared the screen and I saw like the body map, I was like, what am I looking at? I don't even know. And then as you started explaining and describing things, I was just like, how would she know that? How would it was just very intense and like just right on. And I was like, how in the world, from my birth date, my exact date and time of birth and location, how could you possibly know that?
Exactly.
That's all I
Exactly.
did.
Yes, and that is the magic of human design, is it's specificity. And it is, like you were saying, Chantal, based on your birth date, your birth time, your birthplace. And that's what determines kind of your 1 in 10 billion design. And what it's what human design really does is reveals, how you're specifically wired to thrive, how to make decisions. It gives you this unique roadmap to finding your flow in every part of your life, your relationships. Um, it's incredible. And it truly is. And I love that you used the word map because it truly is, I think, the most clear cut map to self awareness and self illumination.
That's awesome. And so, yeah, you kind of told us a little bit about how you found it. And now, how do you use that to kind of help other people create a life that they love?
Certainly. So, the system itself is a synthesis of some modern sciences and some ancient wisdom systems. So, the combination or synthesis of these systems provides this tool for self-discovery, and it is incredible to anyone who's even touched on it how amazingly accurate it is. It's been tested. It is there's a professor out in California, and of course her name is escaping me at the moment, but she's actually put this to a scientific test. So, Ellen Portner. Oh, anyway, it's escaping me. But yes, what it does is it essentially shows your unique energetic blueprint. So there are some imprintings that occur prior to your birth and at the moment of your birth. And due to these imprintings, these certain characteristics come to the surface, and you're essentially shown like in black and white color exactly who you are. And it's really interesting because a lot of the attributes that are there are what are termed unconscious. They're not even really attributes that you may be aware of. And they're things that other people oftentimes see in you. So it's like half or more of who you are really doesn't even come to the surface until you connect, until you're in relationship with others. And that's how a big part of you is expressed. And human design can actually show you those things. It's incredible. It's just amazing. It can show you where you may have fear. There are places in the body graph that reveal anxiety, that reveal intuition. And they are very specific energies. And so it's really an amazing gift that we've been given.
Absolutely. Yeah. And a lot of the things I felt like I'm currently 37 and I've gone through a couple little personal transformations now. The first one kind of being after my divorce, and then building up the courage and working through the limiting beliefs to write a book and get that out there. And then the podcast, I'm constantly like leveling up and like busting out of my comfort zone. My comfort zone gets bigger and my options get wider. And so I had that exact same conversation and looked at that exact same map 5 years ago, I would have been like, lady, you're crazy.
And there are people who, when they first see and learn about their charts, there are people who do have some dysresonance personally. That's not uncommon, Chantal. But yes, most often when people come to me for a session or to any human design consultant or reader or analyst, they're ready. It's because they've been through, some of the challenges in life that they have. Generally speaking, people don't go through growth processes unless it's absolutely 100% necessary and they've hit at least one, if not multiple rock bottoms, unfortunately. But what's really interesting, and um, the founder of the system actually talks about this system being for children. And so, now we have, a few generations who, if their parents were aware of human design, they actually then know these things from, the time of their birth, which is wow. I mean, that does blow my mind to
Yeah.
have access to that kind of information about yourself. I mean, how cool would it be to, have essentially an owner's manual, because that's essentially what human design can become. So yeah, having that your whole life would be amazing.
Right.
But yes, I think those of us who come to it through whatever means we do, again, it can really be illuminating. And I think it's a really great way to essentially rewrite, um, you know, your narrative, your life's narrative. And so it kind of goes right along with, yeah, revealing a new you. Um, yeah, but it's the true you, which is really incredible. It's not just some notion that you've pulled off Instagram of who you idealize, which is great. I mean, we all need expanders in our lives, but um, we can also be our own best expanders if we live out our chart in the highest expression. And that's, what I strive for. And that's what I hope to help others do as well.
Yeah. And it can just be so eye-opening and empowering. Because like I said, 5 years ago, I was not who I am today, and I did not have the confidence, and, was still very much kind of scared of my own shadow and just trying to figure out my way. And so knowing that that design was, as you said, imprinted like before birth and then at birth, it's been there the whole time, but I didn't know. And now, like, so everything you told me, I was like, oh my gosh, I am living in alignment. Like, this is so validating that all this stuff that I'm working my tail off doing, that everyone, like, not everyone, but the non-entrepreneurial, non-coach people in my life are looking at me like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm supposed to be doing this. This is amazing. Like,
Exactly.
yeah, who knew?
I'm aligned.
Yeah. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's so cool. Um,
absolutely. Yes, exactly. Yeah, when we were together, when I was um, reading for you, yes, it felt like, and that can definitely be how people do come to find human design. My husband is very similar. He, is living this very unique life. He's a creator. He's a content creator, a YouTube influencer, but he constantly questions his path. And so, knowing now his human design, now he feels really confident and clear about who he is. Um, he has this one channel in his design, and essentially, um, it's termed the channel of struggle. And so, for him, it's like, thank goodness I know that it's essentially a part of my design to go through struggle. He's like, otherwise, I would constantly be fighting that
mm,
and wondering, why me? Why me? And now he just realizes it's just a part of who he is.
yeah, that's awesome. So for anybody that's listening to this either live or on the replay, like, how can they just learn more and get in touch with you and do all those things?
Absolutely. So there are tons of amazing resources, of course, out in the world. And, you know, I would love to connect and help anyone open their human design journey. I have set up a little special link so that you can kind of get in touch with me. If you visit my link and sign up, I will immediately share with you my personal alignment mantra, which I do every day. And there are another couple of bonuses. So you can actually sign up for a session or get a blueprint. So essentially it's like a written reading. Or I can easily connect you with a million other resources. There are so many great human design practitioners out there. I have teachers that I just think are to die for, and they're my superheroes and guides and teachers. And so many provide such great content and resources. So yes, please hit my link, and I would be delighted to answer any questions. And I do have a Facebook page as well, so you can message me. Let me pull up my Facebook link and I'll pop it in the chat for you.
Yes, and I'm putting your mantra link, your alignment mantra, and other bonus goodies.
Yes. So yeah, the bonuses are essentially, if you want to sign up for a session or get a blueprint, you'll get a nice fat discount. And then there's also a link to get a free body graph. So yeah, those are fun, easy ways to introduce yourself to human design, to start your alignment journey, or to continue it if you're already on it. And I imagine most of our viewers and listeners are. But yes, let me share my Facebook in that way.
Anybody watching,
people can just seamlessly head over and chat me up or post a message or ask a question if they like. And I do want everyone to know my journey. I talk a lot about success and abundance and prosperity, and those things, of course, are really, those are near and dear to me. But I haven't always been in a place of abundance or wealth, and I've lived through a lot of lack. And so I want anyone who's watching, listening, anyone who's out there who may watch the replay to know that that money never need be an issue for alignment. It's not just for wealthy people. It's not just for people who can afford it. So if, you hit my website or you see those services listed, please know that should never hold you back from asking for assistance. If you're needing help with this, let me know. I am open to helping others. It is very important to me to serve, and I would never let money come between myself and someone getting aligned.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for adding that in there. So definitely, we've got the links in the Facebook comments if you are with us live, and they will be in the show notes and the replay, and anywhere you are catching this, you can reach out and get in touch with Guin. Anything else you want to share with us today?
Just a special thanks to you, Chantal. This has been so much fun. I just feel incredibly blessed to have the opportunity to connect with you and to be a part of your Create a Life You Love podcast series. It's incredible.
Thank you so much for taking the time to come share your knowledge with us. I just think it's fascinating. And I did, a few days after we met, I was like, but what do other people's charts look like? How do I know that mine is really like that unique? And you can find, if you just like Google, you can find like what Oprah's human design looks like and what, and it's crazy when you read like their explanations for what all their little numbers and lines mean. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's totally Oprah.
Exactly. And yes, it's really interesting to find out who's living their design in that world. It's incredible. I do love that as well.
So cool. So cool. Okay. Well, I like to ask everybody who is a guest what their daily non-negotiables are.
Daily non-negotiables. Well, of course, the alignment mantra would definitely be one of my daily non-negotiables. I have a yoga practice and I love like getting up. The very first thing um, I have a lot of like anxiety that I process when I sleep. And so when I wake up, oftentimes I feel like, so yoga really helps me release that. Um, and my practice, it's different every day. So some days I might get up and do like a power yoga, a really heavy duty vinyasa flow. And then some days it's yin, some days it's like, a little breath work and, a few like cat cows. But yes, yoga, meditation, and tapping are definitely daily practices. There's a book I've been reading called The Open Focus Brain, recommended by a hypnotherapist that I work with. And I would love to give a shout out to Carola Knott, who's amazing. But she introduced me to a book called Open Focus Brain by Dr. Les Femi. And there are exercises that I've been doing. And holy cow, talk about like really eye-opening. And I kind of say that in a funny way because focus, of course, has to do with the eyes and the brain system. But this talks a lot about how we've essentially come to the place that we have in the world and how stressed and anxious and depressed so many people are, and how we've lost our ability to open up our focus, and how diffusing using different modes of focus can actually really like amazingly improve just how you operate day to day, how you feel more ease. So that's been a big addition. One of your previous guests, I think it was Sarah, she was talking about brain priming. And so I've started doing a little brain priming. I wouldn't necessarily say it's a non-negotiable, but I do love it. And then spending time with my husband. Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yes. Brain priming is one of the results of the neurocoaching method. And so I met Sarah we were both master certified neurocoaches. So I met her in my certification cohort. And she's also a certified tapping consultant.
Nice.
And she works within my group coaching program and helps co-coach and brings in the tapping. And then we both have the neuro coaching. And so it's always fun to connect with people. Because I know we talked when the first time we met, it was just amazing to me how you could use like the mapping to really see how personalities align. And if you're trying to build a small team, which I'm doing, I'm like, oh, I'm going to be tagging in Guin at one of these points as I'm hiring people and pay for their mapping, and then get a little side, like nothing too deep or personal, but hey, is this a good fit? Like, my map, their map, like good hire, yay, nay.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah, human design is absolutely fantastic when you do have teams of people that you're putting together, or teams that are already together, so that you can really understand how people work, what their strengths are, how you can essentially how you can communicate too, because depending on your type, the way you respond is going to be very different. Some people you want to let kind of do their thing, and then there are others you definitely want to invite in, etc. And so yes, it can really, really be a tremendous tool for organizations. Yeah, it's not only for self-illumination, it's great tool for business.
Love it.
Definitely.
So many amazing things that we can do there.
Indeed.
Okay. Well, as we wrap up, I just want to thank you again so much for being with us today, Guin, and anybody with us live or replay or on the podcast. Thank you, everyone, for joining us on the Create a Life You Love video podcast. And if you got value out of this episode, please share it with someone that you think would benefit from it as well. And also, leaving a podcast review is always so very appreciated. And you can now quickly and easily leave a review from any device by going to ratethispodcast.com/CALYL for Create a Life You Love. And all that will be linked, so don't feel like you have to jot it down real fast or memorize it. And if you are on a transformation journey, be sure to check out the newly released free transformation action plan. You jump on, you answer a few simple questions, and then you get detailed, personalized results for the top 3 things that you can implement and build momentum today on your journey. And yes, all of Guin's links will be in there, so you can go check out her specials and get your map or design chart. What's the official term?
You can either call it a chart or a body graph. But yeah, map also works. Yeah, absolutely. Get in there and get one. It's free. Yeah. And if you don't know your actual birth time, a lot of people have challenges with that. Ping me on Facebook and I'll help you. There are ways to what's called rectify your birth time. So yeah, we can help you hone in on that. And it's actually possible to get a reading without having an exact time. But yeah, the more accurate the info, the better. So pull out your birth, like your
Certificate.
birth certificate. Thank you. And yeah, and then head over to the link and get your body graph, body map, your human design chart.
Human design chart. Yes. I had no idea. I don't know the last time I looked at my birth certificate, but you were messaging me like, oh, I need this information before we meet. I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna have to call my mom. I don't know. Then you're like, where were you born? Texas. It's on your certificate. And I was like, oh, all right. I gotta go find that. And voila, there it was.
I was going to say, yes, if you're born in Texas, it has all of that information. Yeah.
Do most states?
Yes.
Like, I don't know.
Some do and some don't. And of course, it also depends a lot on when you were born. So, and also daylight savings time, didn't really come into use until a certain time. So if you were born before that, obviously, yeah, the charting system, has to make allowances for that. But yeah, it's incredible, crazy. Yeah, all of the little variables that come into play when, pulling an accurate body graph.
That's awesome. Learning so much, and I just can't wait to learn more.
Likewise, me too. I love to learn new things.
Awesome. Okay, well, everyone, next week we will be chatting with Stephanie Shaw, who's a nutrition strategist. She helps high-performing women get the body they desire and the confidence they deserve by peeling back the layers of the intricate health puzzle down to your DNA, and then shows you precisely what to do. So stay tuned for that. You can find us in the Create a Life You Love community or catch it on your favorite podcasting platform. Same time, same place next Tuesday. Bye, everybody. Enjoy the journey.
Thank you so much, Chantal. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you for listening to the Create a Life You Love podcast. I would love to hear from you about your biggest takeaways. Share them with me on Facebook or Instagram at Create a Life You Love Coaching. If you love this podcast, be sure to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. It's very much appreciated. That's it for now. Enjoy the journey.